Good morning, students. I welcome all of you to know about the Summer of the Beautiful White Horse, written by William Saran. It is from a Snapshots Supplementary Reader for Class 11. It is the third video, and I hope you must have watched the first and second video in connection with it. Now, I would like to tell you about the farmer fed Vazian, where the alfalfa and oats were grown in the barn, and it was for Aram that Murad had been taking early rides for some time and had come to him that morning only. He inquired how long ago did he steal the horse. Murad did not like the question. He rephrased. How long did he begin riding? Did he begin riding every morning? He replied, not until this morning. He was obviously not speaking the truth, but he was convinced that he was saying so. Murad then told Aram that it was not easy to get the horse to behave so nicely. At first he would want it to run wild, but since he had a way with a horse, he developed an understanding with the horse. The narrator reached home and ate a hearty breakfast. That afternoon, what did happen is Uncle Khosrow came to their house for coffee and cigarettes. While he was sipping coffee and smoking in the parlor, another visitor arrived. Who it might be? It was John Byro, a farmer. He was an Assyrian farmer, Assyrian. Who was an Assyrian farmer? John Byro. And he was living lonely. He learned to speak Armenian. He was also served coffee and tobacco. He said that his white horse, which had been stolen last month, was still gone. Uncle Khosrow became irritated and snubbed him for crying over a horse. Again he repeated the same refrain. What was this? It was no harm. Don't cry over it. So, Farmer John Byro was a large man with a gentle heart. He had to walk 10 miles to reach there, and his left leg was spinning. Horse had cost him $60, and his study was no good without a horse. As soon as the farmer went away, Aram ran over to his cousin Murad, told him about the story that John Byro had come, and he told his mother about his stolen horse. It was the idea. Then what did happen? You can understand. I have prepared some of the slides that you will understand. Here it is the thing. The theme of this story is this. This is the story of two young boys who belonged to a reputed family for honesty and pride. Once they were rich, but for generations they remained poor. Murad and Aram took away John Byro's horse, and after enjoying the horse ride, they returned it to him. So children are proud of their family prestige. Uncle Khosrow believes that whatever happens, that happens for good. So it is the idea. It was the poverty that really did not change their mindset about stealing. And he asked Murad not to return it till he learned to ride. Here Aram suggested. He suggested keeping the horse for a year or at least 6 months. Murad thought he was inviting a Karaglonian to steal. He decided to return the horse to its true owner John Bido. Early every morning for 2 weeks, Murad and Aaron took the horse out of the barn of the deserted vineyard where they were hiding it and rode it. Every morning, the horse would leap over grapevines and small trees and through Aram and run away. Still, Aram hoped to learn to ride as Murad rode. Means here, it was the idea that he wanted to ride. He wanted to keep, but it was not the reality. What did happen one morning? These are the men who belonged to the tribal people. They were great warriors. Really, it was the Garaglanian family who were also known for just protecting their dignity. Murad had a special quality, a deep understanding with all animals. He says, I have a way with a horse. Really, he has a way with all animals and birds. Once he was repairing the hurt wing of a young robin and whispering to it. Murad is considered a crazy fellow, the descendant of his crazy Uncle Khusro. Uncle Khusro has a very bad temper and always stops people from talking by shouting. There is no harm, pay no attention to it. Even when his son informs him that their house is on fire, when uncle is having a haircut, uncle simply sends the boy away, repeating his famed dialogue. So here, these are the things that you have come to learn and you will learn about it. It was his frustration. Here, the Garaglanian family was an Armenian tribe. 11 centuries ago, it was the wealthiest family in that part of the world. However, now every branch of the Garaglanian family was living in the most amazing and comical poverty in the world. These poor people had no money. Nobody could understand where they ever got money enough to keep them with food in their bellies. The Garaglanian tribes were famous for their honesty. It had been the hallmark of the tribe for many centuries. So I have tried to give you some notes here that you will read and just try to understand it much better. What did happen one morning? John Bido was on the way to his town and Murad was there, and they could see that they were just on the way to Fat Vizian, deserted vineyard. The farmer studied the horse eagerly and wished them good morning. He asked the name of the horse. Murad replied that they called it My Heart. What did they call it? My Heart. John Bido called it a lovely name for a lovely horse. He was certain that it was the horse which had been stolen from him many weeks ago, but he could not raise a question. He asked if he might look into the horse's mouth. On examining the teeth of the horse, the farmer was ready to swear that it was his own horse. Means he reiterated, and for knowing about their pride and honesty, that he did not contradict. But since the fame of their family for honesty was well known, he would not call it the stolen horse, though it was his. So it was the twin of his horse. Early the next morning, the boys took the horse to John Bido's vineyard. Where did they take John Bido's vineyard and put it to the barn? Murad put his arms around the horse, pressed his nose into the horse's nose, and patted it. Then they went away. Finally, that afternoon, John Bido came to their house in his surrey and showed the narrator's mother, Aram's mother, the horse that had been stolen and returned. He was so surprised to find the horse stronger than ever and bitter tempered too. Means Murad and Aram both treated the horse so well he could eat the grass, alfalfa, and oats. He thanked God. Uncle Khusro, who was in the parlor, became irritated and shouted at him to be quiet. He observed this horse and found that it had returned and repeated his old refrain. What was that? It is no harm, pay no attention to it. So here you have come to know all about this relation, that you can know how interestingly they acted, they fulfilled their desire, and finally they returned the horse for the sake of their honesty. They did not want to sell the horse, rather they returned it to the real owner. So we should maintain our dignity and pride at all costs. Thank you, children.